It pays to know your doctor, it pays to know your lawyer, and more than ever, to know your local real estate professional. Hi, I'm Glenn Drake with Drake Realty with 7 offices in Metro Atlanta, including 2 right here in Cobb County. I'm the proud leader of over 700 agents here in Georgia. Drake Realty makes the home buying process seamless from contract to close. Our agents are a little different. They're not pushing for the quick sale and close. They're pushing for the best price and terms for their clients. In other words, Drake Realty fights for you. And right now, with the lowest interest rates that we've seen in 30 years, now's the time to buy that dream home, vacation home, upgrade, downsize, or new home your family deserves. A lot of real estate agents talk big. Let my team at Drake Realty prove they will fight for you. I'm Glenn Drake, and I'd be honored to have my team serve you. Visit us online at drakerealty.com. And remember, it's not how quick you sell or buy, it's how the deal sets up your future.
Fair food, drinking outside, and an East Cobb school gets national recognition.
We've got all these stories and more coming up on the MDJ Podcast.
Engineered Solutions of Georgia.
Hey Atlanta, this is Jay and Lewis, owners of Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Lewis, what should a homeowner do if they have a crack in their block wall, corner of their door, window, or concrete foundation?
Well, Jay, if it's a diagonal crack, this lets us know that they should be concerned and there could be a serious problem. Then they should call our office at 678-ESOG now and set up an appointment to have one of our qualified professional technicians come out to their property to take a look at the problem.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. I've done the research already, so you don't have to. You can trust Engineered Solutions of Georgia.
Give Engineered Solutions of Georgia a call at 678-ESOG now.
Engineered Solutions of Georgia. We guarantee a stable, dry foundation. Dial 678-ESOG now.
Welcome to the MDJ Podcast. It's hyper-local news on the run. I'm Darren Sutherland.
And I'm Amy Cargus. Thanks for joining us.
It's Saturday, September 26, 2020, National Ghost Hunting Day.
Here are the top stories your friends and neighbors will be talking about.
Step right up and play the game.
While you won't be able to ride the Ferris wheel or feed any animals at the petting zoo, you can still get a taste of your favorite fair foods. The North Georgia State's Fair Taste of the Fair, a drive-through fair food experience at Jim R. Miller Park in Marietta, is starting this weekend. The drive-through fair food will be available today and tomorrow and next weekend, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Vendors will have fair food like deep-fried Oreos, funnel cakes, turkey legs, caramel apples, and more. The fair will be open from 4 to 8 p.m. on Fridays and noon to 8 on Saturdays and Sundays. The fair is partnering with Musk Ministries to collect canned goods at the weekend event. Guests can trade in a donation of 7 non-perishable canned goods for 1 ticket to the 2021 North Georgia State Fair. You can get more information about the event, including a complete list of vendors, at MDJOnline. Amy, what's your favorite fair food?
You know, I like to look for the weirdest thing that they've deep fried, and then I like the saltwater taffy and vanilla.
Saltwater taffy to vanilla. See, I'm old school. I like caramel apples. It's just real simple. The ones with nuts on them are pretty good too, but just caramel apples. But it always looks so good, and it's always fun. And I miss the North Georgia State Fair. I've been going to it for 50 years.
Well, we look forward to going to it next year. And East Cobb Elementary School is one of 8 Georgia public schools to earn national recognition recently. Here with the story is Marietta Daily Journal and MDJ Online education reporter Ryan Kolakowski. Ryan, what's up?
Murdoch Elementary School in East Cobb is one of 8 Georgia public schools to receive a 2020 National Blue Ribbon Award, and that was announced on Thursday by the Georgia Department of Education. Now, that National Blue Ribbon Award, that comes from the United States Department of Education, and Murdoch was recognized for overall academic excellence.
What criteria did the school have to meet?
The U.S. Department of Education recognizes these schools as National Blue Ribbon Award recipients for either being exemplary, high-performing schools, or exemplary achievement gap closing schools. So Murdoch was recognized as a high-performing school, and those high-performing schools rank well on state or national assessments.
We've got two story updates for you. The first stems from a multi-car wreck we reported back in August, where 84-year young Max Lorenz of Marietta was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. That accident happened on Whitlock Avenue, or Whitlock Road, just at the end of Whitlock Avenue. Lorenz was driving east on Whitlock when Lamar Barker of Austell crossed the double yellow lines into oncoming traffic and collided with Lorenz's Toyota Avalon. We're happy to report that Mr. Lorenz was recently released from the hospital. Meanwhile, Lamar Barker has been charged with several misdemeanor charges, including speeding, passing in a no-passing zone, and reckless driving and racing.
Our second update is about a fatal hit and run on I-75 earlier this month. Marietta police have arrested the man they believe is responsible for the September 12th hit-and-run crash that killed Martin Rivera, a Georgia Department of Transportation construction contractor. Late Monday night, Marietta Police Department investigators arrested Daniel Broder of Canton after receiving an anonymous tip. Broder was booked into the Cobb County Jail facing 2 felony charges, hit and run and first-degree vehicular homicide. He remains in jail without bond.
Hey, if you're a fan of enjoying cocktails while strolling along the river in Smyrna, if you didn't even know there's a river in Smyrna, well, the Chattahoochee River borders Smyrna in the city of Atlanta, you'll like this next story. Here to tell us about it, it's Marietta Daily Journal and MDJOnline reporter Alex Gilbert. What's the scoop, Alex?
So Smyrna has a couple of places where, if you want, you can grab a drink at a bar, step outside, and keep drinking. That's not really a thing that you can do in most parts of the country, with, I guess, the exception of New Orleans. So earlier this week, Smyrna expanded one of those areas. They've got a new mixed-use development right down on the Chattahoochee River. It's called Riverview Landing. The first phase of that opened last year, and when it opened, people were able to take their drinks outside. According to the council member who represents that district, it's been a hit. People really like it. They like taking their drink down to the river. And so as the developer works on that second phase, which is going to double the number of apartments, triple the amount of retail space, they wanted to have that same thing right over there. So Smyrna City Council voted earlier this week to expand that open container district by the river.
Now, this isn't a drinking free-for-all. There are some rules in place, right?
So one of those rules is you can only carry out 1 drink per person. The drink can't be in glass. And also there are hours to those districts. You can't just bring a drink out whenever. It has to be between the hours of 11 a.m. and midnight. And those drinks have to be purchased at one of the establishments in the district. So you can't just fill up a solo cup at home and then walk around the neighborhood drinking it.
And speaking of strolling along, it's time for our Saturday trip around town with Marietta Daily Journal Managing Editor J.K. Murphy, and your chance to go out to dinner or drinks on us.
That's right. Stroll on over, as Amy said, and have dinner on us at Ted's Montana Grill at the Avenues at West Cobb, courtesy of Shannon and her staff. That's right. All you've got to do to get a free dinner at Ted's Montana Grill at the Avenues at West Cobb is call us on our listener line, 404-997-8655, and leave your name and contact info, and we'll send you a free $50 gift card to Ted's Montana Grill at the Avenues at West Cobb. All you got to do is call.
You deserve better than your bank. Better service, better rates, better solutions. If you live or work in Cobb County, now is the perfect time to make the switch to the Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank. Since 1960, Credit Union of Georgia has been providing Northwest Georgia with financial solutions that make sense for your home, business, and family. As a homegrown, not-for-profit cooperative, our members are our mission. Not only will you get the best loan rates, you'll get personalized customer service from people who understand your needs. needs. Plus, Credit Union of Georgia provides real convenience with a network of more than 30,000 accessible ATMs and branch locations across the country. Of course, there's also 5 locations right here in Cobb County. Ready to see how much better your banking can be with Credit Union of Georgia? Become a member today or apply for a loan online by visiting www.cuofga.org. Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank.
I'm Shannon Ebersol. Around Town with J.K. Murphy is brought to you by Ted's Montana Grill at the Avenue West Cobb. What's going on around town, J.K.?
We're 38 days from the big election, and if you're being pestered about your vote via email, text, phone calls, and those oversized mailers stuffed into your mailbox, Around Town has a tip for you. Go ahead and vote. The parties and candidates are tracking you and your ballot. When you vote early, they know it and take you off their contact list. It won't slow the number of television ads you have to endure with candidate messages coming at you back to back to back, but it will bring a respite from those direct contacts. Thousands of voters seem to be taking that advice. Election Supervisor Janine Eveler reports that as of Friday, her office has received 137,000 requests for absentee ballots. That's close to 5 times the number from the 2016 presidential election, when only 28,000 absentee ballots were requested. Remember, the deadline to register to vote is October 5th. Early in-person voting in Cobb County begins October 12th at 9 locations. Bob Ott may technically be a lame duck Cobb commissioner, but he's certainly not acting like one and doesn't want anyone to forget it. At Tuesday's meeting, he declared, "I am the commissioner for District 2 until December 31st, 2020 at 11:59, and I can tell you how many minutes and seconds that is, but I am the commissioner, and it is my responsibility, being duly elected by the citizens, to do my job until the last minute. And I am not about to abdicate that." The commissioners were bantering over a resolution creating a panel to address race relations in the county. Commissioner Lisa Cupid pointed out that there will be 2 new commissioners on the board next year, and that she'd prefer the new board, not the current one, nail down the details. Another commissioner, Kelly Gambrill, chimed in a bit poetically when she said, "It is when you don't feel desperate to prove a point that knowledge unfolds and reason prevails." I didn't like that either. To the overall point of race relations in Cobb, the outgoing commissioner said, "We can't just sit back as Rome burns. We don't need our community to be burning. We need our community to be understanding each other and getting along." Homework has taken on a new meaning for many of us as we do our job from the den or the kitchen table instead of the office. But evidently there are some places that are a bit more accommodating of remote workers than others. One of those places, according to the job search website Zippa, is Kennesaw, Georgia. Kennesaw was named the best city in Georgia for remote workers and earned the number 4 spot nationwide on Zippa's list of best cities for remote workers in each state. Zipper ranks cities based on the number of laptops or desktops per household, broadband internet access, and the number of existing remote workers. Zipper says 93% of homes in Kennesaw have access to high-speed internet, and 6% of the city's residents were already working from home before the pandemic hit. Who's got the best pizza in Cobb, the best burger? Is your dentist or your teacher the best in the land? What is your favorite park or sporting event? To answer these questions, the MDJ has launched the 2021 version of its Best of Cobb contest. Last year, nearly 44,000 readers voted nearly 500,000 times to determine the Best of Cobb in more than 200 categories. We just started the nominating phase, so if you want to enter your business or your favorite business in any of the 200 categories, go to thebestofcobb.com and make your nominations. You have until October 30th to nominate. Voting on those nominees will begin December 26th. They say these are unprecedented times, but that's not the case for Marietta resident Avis Beverly Mercer,
who turns 102 today. Bev's life spans 2 pandemics. She was born in 1918 during the Spanish flu epidemic, and now she's living through another. After 37,230 days on this planet, Bev offers these words of advice. Live your life. Don't put it off. Live it as much as you possibly can. Be thoughtful and be kind. A tip of the Around Town cap, and happy birthday, Bev. Must Ministries broke ground Thursday on its new homeless shelter, what will be a 2-story, 136-bed facility on North Cobb Parkway. The lineup of dignitaries includes some heavy hitters who spoke at the ceremony: Ike Reigard, CEO of Must Ministries, Governor Brian Kemp, Marietta Mayor Steve Tumlin, Cobb District Attorney Joyette Holmes, Chairman Mike Boyce, and the list goes on. One of our favorite public speakers is former Governor Roy Barnes, who always has a yarn or two woven into his remarks. His honor didn't disappoint Thursday when he hearkened back to his childhood and a lesson learned. Here's a story, but imagine hearing this with Barnes' gentlemanly southern drawl. He said he and his father had just closed up his father's Mableton store on a cold winter night when they spotted a homeless man walking along the railroad tracks. Rather than scoot out of the parking lot, Barnes' father rolled down the window of the family truck and asked the man if he needed help. When the homeless man asked for something to eat, Barnes said his father reparked the truck and reopened the store. Then he fixed the man a bologna sandwich and gave him some milk. The night's lesson wasn't immediately apparent to the younger Barnes, who was a bit put out that their trip home was delayed. But later he said his father told him, "Don't let anybody go hungry." That's a message, Barnes told the crowd at the Must groundbreaking, that none of us should ever forget. Barnes said, and I quote, "We have an obligation as a community for those that have fallen on bad times to take care of them. We don't have to give them money, but we do have to give them a shelter, something to eat, and a hope that if they will stay with us, we'll help them get a job." In our opinion, that lesson goes hand in hand with Must Ministries and all they accomplish. And that's it for Around Town.
Thank you for joining us for the Marietta Daily Journal podcast from your local news source, the Marietta Daily Journal and MDJ Online.
Grab a copy of today's paper and visit MDJ Online for complete details on the stories we've discussed, plus more stories that affect you and the citizens of Cobb and surrounding areas.
Subscribe and share this podcast to get all the latest hyper-local updates, or ask Alexa or Google Home to play the Marietta Daily Journal podcast for you.
Share your thoughts or questions with us in the comments section, or call the MDJ Podcast comment line at 404-997-8655. We might share your comments on an upcoming episode.
The MDJ Podcast is produced by BG Ad Group, Amy Cargus producer, Jacob Sutherland director, copyright 2020, all rights reserved. Remember, we are all in this together. Blessings on each of you, and stay 6 foot away and safe.
Thank you for listening to the Marietta Daily Journal podcast, brought to you by Carmichael Funeral Homes and Cremation Services in Smyrna and Marietta, celebrating memories you'll always cherish.